Okay, so good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And if you are watching this after now, thank you for taking the time to stop by and consume this content. Tmak is my name. I am a member of DLI. DLI stands for Development, Empowerment, and Leadership Initiative. We are an NGO that we are passionate about human and capital development. And our mission and our vision is world transformation, one man at a time, one community at a time. So I believe that being the first edition this year, even though today is already the 28th of the month, yes, I think that Happy New Year is still appropriate. And I pray that the year will exceed your expectations. But the reason why we have the HeyCoach program under DLI is so that it goes beyond just prayer when it comes to 2023. That 2023 actually turns out to be everything that you wish it to be and even more. And that's why one of my favorite quotes or phrases is that it's important that we ensure that we make time count and that we are not just counting. Like I said, today's already the 28th. When did we say Happy New Year? If you don't stand up and get going with the year, before you know it, January will be over. Before you know it, it will be June. Before you know it, it will be another December should the Lord tarry. And the last thing you want to see is to get into a cycle where every year ends, you wonder what happened to the year, but you never rise up to do anything differently. To ensure that 2023 marks a different turn is why we are having this program today. So what is HeyCoach about for those who are new? Is still relatively new. We just want to quickly run through this slide that has been constant since we started. It is not just a training. It is about sharing life experiences from participants and facilitators. And because we want to teach productivity, we are very heavy on productivity. We'll always keep time, which is why we are starting today as usual. And the whole essence is that as we come, we spend the first 15 minutes having some conversation, and then we try to keep our individual contribution very brief. It is turning out that instead of having it as presentation and contribution, it's turning out to be a mix of both. We do some and then we take contribution, but whichever way it is not just about training. And therefore, this day, today, the first edition for 2023, what are we focusing on? If you have seen the poster for this, what we are talking about is how do you take the very first step towards the actualization of your dream for 2023? How do you take the very first step towards the fulfillment of your plan for this new year? Whether you have a plan or not, whether you have it written or not, we believe that there's something for you to learn. There's something in this session, in this edition, that is going to bless you and help you. And that's why we are saying, come along and let's get going. Now, many people start the year with a lot of resolutions. And as you know, there are practices of New Year resolution. This is what I want to do. This is what I do not want to do. And people, some are very serious. They ride, they push. Some want to stop doing this. Some want to start doing that. But usually, before the middle of January, sometimes even before the end of the first week of January, many people are back to where they were. Why? It is because as human beings, we are products of habits. We are products of habits. So it is not just easy for most people to just snap their finger and a new me, a new them will emerge. How to break that cycle and take control of the emergence of the new you is what we are talking about here. And I'm not surprised that we don't have so many people here live as we are talking, because for most people, they would rather spend time and emotion crying about missed targets. They would rather spend time and emotion complaining about what is not working. They would rather be unhappy. They would rather be depressed than take the step that needs to be taken for things to change. And that is why psychology came up with a phrase that is called learned helplessness. Most people do not understand how powerful they are. They do not understand that they are actually the architects of their fortune or their misfortune, that they are infinitely powerful, that even God, if you are a Christian, the only thing God can do is to get man to the point where man changes his mind. Even God cannot stop man when man is decided to do something. That's how powerful you are. But when you have practiced learned helplessness for so long, you tell yourself you can. You tell yourself this is who you are. You tell yourself this is how you are. The more you repeat that to yourself, the more you will see it play out in your life. The more you see it play out in your life, the more you repeat it to yourself, and it becomes this self-destructing cycle. It just continues to repeat itself. You begin to dig it deeper, dig it deeper, dig it deeper. Meanwhile, right beside you, you find people who are less competent, less ability, less gifted, less opportunity than you are, and they are doing something better with their life. I'm hopeful that by watching this program, it will empower you and push you and give you a DIY. One thing you will know about our program is that we try to bring it home and get to the point where you know exactly how to get going. So, how do you take the first step in 2023? It's a common saying, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, just one step. How do you get to the point when you can take that first step? So, as you will know in this program, we normally will try to set our content behind the story. And if you remember, towards the end of last year, the story was about Yemi, who was beginning to get antsy and uncomfortable with how time and life was going. And as the year was ending, she was getting uncomfortable to say, my job is great, I'm making progress, I'm valued at work, but something is missing. Okay, the story is what we picked up this edition, where as she was thinking of worrying about that, she ran into an old friend that's called Tayo, and Tayo, in the course of a party, was just able to quickly share a few tips with her on how to discover purpose, which is what we spent most of, I think, the December edition talking about. And now, having gotten from Tayo how to go about discovering purpose, she was able to apply it, and she ended 2022 with a reasonably well-written and clear plan of how she would like to run in 2023. But like I just said, We are products of habits. It's not so easy. It's not so easy. So here you now find, hear me, the year has started. And then she's now, the excitement she felt towards the end of 2022 has now given way to anxiety. She's now beginning to wonder. Today is already the 14th. Today is already the 25th. Today is already the 28th. Very soon January will end. Instead of now being excited about what the year could afford, she was now beginning to get anxious to say, wait a minute, am I going to end this year in defeat? Because now that there is a goal, it is easy to see whether you have hit it or you have missed. And so she's anxious as to what does she need to do to make 2023 a reality. That is where our journey meets our journey for this session, which is, how do I make my plan become a reality? Where do I start from? And to put this in context is the concept of the butterfly effect. Butterfly effect is a concept that assumes that, that believes that, it's science actually, that believes that the wings of a butterfly in Brazil, when a butterfly flaps its wings in Brazil, it can cause a tornado in Texas. Because that little flap of the wing, or that flap of that very fragile wing, can set things in motion that by the time you see the net effect, you will never believe that it was that little step that got you there. I don't know if anybody has any story to share of one little step that you took that translated into something big, that when you look back, you just wonder how that small little step became this huge result that you now have in front of you. Anybody? Any story of one little step that you took? Many times you didn't even appreciate how significant it will eventually turn out to be. But when you look back, you can see that, wow, this little step translated into this huge outcome. Anybody?
Okay, so can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, John, good evening.
Good evening. Happy New Year, sir.
Joining.
Nice to see you. Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for coming. So I think what that just came to mind is when I was in school and I was about to do my trumpet senior, we do trumpet senior exams, so to pass into the senior orchestra. So, you know, I was in school, so there was not too much place to practice a trumpet on it. The only place was music department where there were a lot of drums. So I just decided to stay some 1 hour per night in the dead of the night, and it went a long way. The next time I was to see my teacher, I think about 3 months later, he said, "Oh, you have improved a lot on that piece," because I mean we had a classical piece to play, and it just made a long way. I mean, so I was on campus. It was not like when I was in junior that I had, you know, home, school, church environment to do all I need to do.
Thank you very much for sharing. Yes. Any other story? One little step that you took that made a world of difference. That when you look back, you wonder, wow, how did I get here? Anybody? Anybody else? Did I see a hand? Yes, John, please go ahead.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Nice to have us here. Mine maybe is not so dramatic, but there was a time that as just a young student, I made friends with another student who I was just being kind, you know. I wasn't trying to do anything, like I wasn't trying to be a hero or anything, but I was just trying to be kind to these students who did need help. But it blossomed into a friendship that went beyond just two schoolboys. It went into families, and today there have been opportunities that both families have enjoyed from each other and even extended. But you know, it just started by one simple act of trying to be kind to someone who seemed to be at the disadvantage at the point. But it has now blossomed into something much larger than any of us could have imagined.
Thank you very much for sharing, John. Anyone, any last one? So let me tell you a true life story. I think it was about June 2000. No, June 2001. Yeah, June 2001. I was working with UNICEF at that time. I was sitting in an open office. I was an accountant. I was the secretary to the finance director in Nigeria at that time. At that time, 2001, just play your mind back. Computers were not so common. I mean, I learned computer with when you had to memorize commands, MS-DOS environment, Control-C, Control-V. There was no Windows when I learned. So at that time, very limited use. So long story short, I was seated trying to work, and then a young lady walked in, and then it wasn't my business. I wasn't even part of the floor because I was the secretary to the boss, so I was close to his own side. And then I overheard a conversation of, oh, it's not working. Oh, it's something. They were struggling to do something. Like John said, my natural person, always looking out how to help. So I moved closer to say, hey, what are you trying to do? It turned out that the lady came in because she heard a new company was coming into Nigeria. The name of this company was MTN. She heard that there were job adverts. She was trying to apply. It was misbehaving. And I was the youngest. So you can imagine, like I was saying, it was MS-DOS at that time. Most people saw. The people that she was dealing with were much older, limited IT skills. So I sat with her, helped her. She applied. She was happy she left. Yours sincerely now went back to my own PC and then started digging around. What is even this MTN about? What's going on here? Lo and behold, I was completely not aware of any of those opportunities until that particular event. Excuse me. And then I dug around it, and then I found out this may be very interesting for me. And so having helped her, guess what? I applied. Guess what? I was invited. Guess what? I ended up becoming one of the pioneer staff of that company. Guess what? That little event of helping somebody, there's no way I can tell my career story today without talking about the 7 years I spent with MTN. MTN Nigeria, MTN South Africa, MTN Iran. I can't go into the details, but just imagine the breadth. I repeat, MTN Nigeria was also broad. I did distribution, I did sales, I did finance, I did operations. The 7 years I spent in MTN was like 21. It was it's a big part of who I am today and what I know today. Exposure, experience. I did MTN South Africa. I went as far as MTN Iran to go and set up the company there. Where did it start from? Just helping somebody. But the butterfly effect is a very powerful concept. And that is why they say that we live life forward, but we understand it backward. If you are looking down on things and you are trying to see the full picture before you take a step, you won't do anything. And opportunities will always pass you by. Always. That's why one of my favorite partners of the Bible, is that verse that says, whatsoever your hand findeth to do, do it with all your might, whatsoever. Because typically, opportunity comes dressed in work clothes. And it can be very confusing, very misleading. So, at the concept of taking the first step is understanding the fact that all you need to worry about, I repeat, all you need to worry about is just that first step. Because there is inspiration in action. You want to start exercising, take that first step. Excuse me. You want to earn more money, take that first step. You want to lose weight, take that first step. You want to build self-esteem, self-confidence, take that first step. So, at the center of this conversation today, therefore, is the concept of this butterfly effect. And like I've said time and time again, is that what do you want to achieve in 2023? That little step that you will take on the back of today's session can be the most important step in your life. Why? We are products of habit. And once you take the first step and you reinforce it bad enough, it sticks. Talk to people who smoke today and can't break it. Where did it start?
Hello, Thomas.
Yes?
We can hear you properly, but at least I can. You're sounding very thin.
Really? Now?
We can hear you, really. We can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
I can hear you also.
Okay,
and I've been hearing you. Sister, I think you should.
Papa, is it better? You are muted. Can you answer? Okay.
Maybe I should go out and come back in. Maybe it's my network.
You still can't hear again?
She has exited the meeting room. She will come back. That should make it better.
I hope she. So I was saying that talk to people who have bad habits that they cannot break. People who are smoking and they are trying to break it. They will always trace it to the first drag or the first stick. Talk to those who drink and they are trying to break it, or those who binge, they are trying to break it. They will always trace it to that very first step. So there is power in being deliberate with your first step, because that's all you need to worry about. Sometimes most of the time, what weighs us down is, we try to think about how far it is, how big it is, how huge it is. Today's program is to demystify and say your 2023 can exceed your expectation. And I'm not preaching, I'm not a motivational speaker. I will break it down for you. Your 2023 can exceed your expectation, provided you are willing to follow what you are going to learn today, starting with the first step. And so, it's all about how do you build the winning habits. How do you win? How do you build those winning habits? Because the future you are looking for is embedded and wrapped around the habits that you are forming. Okay? You can't decide your future, unfortunately. No, men don't decide their future. Women too do not decide their future. All that is within our control to decide are our habits. And there's no habit you cannot change. And how to change this is what we are talking about today, provided you are sufficiently interested. So let's fly a little lower now. Forgive me because I've been a bit unwell, but I just have to do this session. I did not want to wait till February, so forgive my coughing, yeah? So what exactly, therefore, are we talking about? We are saying 2023 has started again. End of last year, we encouraged you very strongly on this program to say, create time, make a plan, write the plan. Were you able to do that? Question. Now, if you're able to do that, great. But sometimes having a plan can be overwhelming, like we saw with Yemi. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do this. What we are trying to do with this program is to say, it's okay you have a year's plan. It's okay you have 5-year plan. It's okay if you're like me, you have a 15-year plan. It's not useful. Those plans are not useful unless they immediately disintegrate into work by taking the first step. So, to have a great 2023, question, if you can only chase one thing this year on that plan, what will it be? Start thinking. Oh, I want to jackpot. Oh, I want to have a program. I want to go to school. I want to make more money. I want to build muscle. I want to whatever. It's a lot of things as human beings. We have plenty of things we are looking for. But if there's just one thing you can chase this year of the lot, what will it be? And it's no problem if you also didn't have the time to make a plan. It is still the same question as you are listening to this program or watching this video. What's that one thing that if there's only one thing you are allowed to chase this year, what would that thing be? If you have a pen, I encourage you to please take 2 seconds and make a quick list. And if you have a plan, if you can reach it, dig it up and bring it out. Because the key to success is learning to take the first step. Okwemikwa, welcome back. Can you hear me now properly?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So the key to success,
I think it's from my end.
all right, the key to success is being able to take that first step and then the next step and then the next step and then the next step, and before you know it, you will shock yourself. Because have you ever seen a train move? When a train is about to start, it looks like a very sluggish animal. Of recent, I've had the privilege of traveling in the new train system. I've done Abuja, Kaduna, Abuja a couple of times before the drama started. And sometimes when you get into the coach and you are seated, you see the thing stutter, and then it stutters, and it looks like it's so slow. But let it start to move. There's something in science that is called momentum. After a while, it can't stop. I'm sure some of you heard of the accident that happened recently where a train smashed into a car, I think it was in around Abuja too, and killed the poor woman who was driving across the train track. Because for a train to stop when it hits momentum, it has to start braking from a very far distance. You cannot say, hey, and the train will stop. And that's the power of the first step, and the next step, and the next step, and the next step. And before you know it, you shock yourself with the result you are getting. So if I come back to the concept I'm working on is to say, if you have a plan for next year, for this year, can we rank it? What is, if you have to take one thing, what will it be? So instead of getting overwhelmed with, I have a lot to do, zero in on just one thing, and I'll show you how to decompose it. And if you've not had the time to prepare anything, it's fine. As you're attending this program or watching this video, if there's just one thing you can chase this year, what will that one thing be? I'm posting on purpose. If you have a pen, you take your note electronically, please take a note, make a list. Because you are in that zone right now. Don't let that zone just go. What is that one thing that if you have your way, you would like to chase this year? Or maybe what you have are 2 things. Or maybe what you have is a list of 10 things. Can you make a quick list? Now, whatever you have done or you are doing right now, I'm hoping that you are beginning to have an idea of what you would like to see happen this year. So make that step number one. Step number two then is, what is your why? You know me, if you've been around me for so long, or you've been attending this program so long, you know I am extremely heavy on purpose, starting with why. When the use of something has not been properly established, abuse is inevitable. When the use of something has not been properly established, abuse is inevitable. If you don't have purpose for your life, you will be floating. I teach leadership. I'm extremely passionate about leadership. But the way I teach leadership, I start with purpose. And one of the ways I teach purpose in my leadership class is I will ask the class to inflate a balloon. And the instruction is, don't let it drop on the floor. So for the entire period of for a particular period of the class, you just see people pop the balloon, bounce it around, back and forth and back. A lot of motion, but no movement. That is how some people are living their lives. And because finding purpose may sometimes not be a very straight journey, many people would rather just float and flow and just follow the tide. Unfortunately, even if you achieve anything, it's not sweet. So having identified whatever is that one thing or 10 things you want to chase this year, question is, what is your why? Are you trying to do it because you want to be better past your neighbor? Are you trying to do it because you want to compete, you want to show off? Or there is something that connects with your core? Unfortunately, we don't have the time to go too deep into this now. But John, please, can you share on the group chat the link to DLI where you can find resource on purpose, resource on life plan, and all those things that can help you? Because really, nobody succeeds by accident. You don't drift towards your destination. You cannot find anybody who has amounted to anything in life who will now say, oh, I just became the richest man in the world, but I don't know what happened. In fact, that's far away. I always ask questions. Can you believe somebody just come and say, oh, I'm a graduate, but I don't know how it happened? Is it possible? It's not possible. You know how many times you have to check? Some people have to write jam 4 times, like yours sincerely. Some have to go through how many post jam, how many lecturers that will harass you when you be feeling sick and you cannot write exam. You cannot become a graduate and say, I did not know how it happened. Then how do you think that you can amount to something in life simply by random? It doesn't happen. So, having established what you want to do, if you really want to find the staying power, if you don't want it to be like disco that we burn during Christmas, that will just do, if you don't want to be like fireworks that will just, hey, and it's going to get extinguished. If you want it to be long, if you want it to be lasting, you must know what your why. It is that why that keeps you going, because take it or leave it, there is nothing we are saying today or we say tomorrow that will make achieving what you want in 2023 to be a straight line. It wasn't designed that way. The road to success is uphill. The road to greatness is uphill. You don't drift towards your destination. But when you are establish your why, it becomes your compass. Because once the why is established, the how becomes much easier. When why is established, how becomes easier. Even though I'm showing you easy, my preference is easier. it does not necessarily become easy, but it becomes easier. Because when you run into bad weather, when you run into depressed mood, when you are not even sure if your head is correct, like I keep asking myself, and we're all in the same boat, don't think I am above it. Even this year, the biggest part of this year started a very interesting note for me, and some things are shaking me to my core that even me talking to you, this knowledge is what kept me going, has kept me going. Because you will lose motivation, you will lose momentum. Sometimes it will look like, I'll ask myself, is my head correct? Am I all right? But when you unscramble everything and you look at, okay, so why am I doing this? Then it becomes clearer. Because you see, satisfaction is more important than success. There's no record you are breaking today that somebody will not break tomorrow. None. Success is external. But if you can get to a point where you are on course and you are chasing something and layer by layer you are meeting them, it is priceless. So, having established what is your core, the next thing you need to do is establish your why. Once you can get those two things easier, then the question is, how do you get it going? And typically in life, there are two buckets of things in life. There are things that you can control. There are things that you cannot control. Unfortunately, we are wired as human beings. It's called paranoia. We are wired as human beings to see what is not working. We are wired to see what is outside our control. Meanwhile, all that God has given us to do is what is within your control. Get going with it. As you take care of what is within your control, the things that are not within your control will take care of themselves. Because you were not meant to solve all the problems alone. It wasn't designed that way. So, this step, the next phase I want to give you now, is so simple. Many people can look down on it, but for those who believe the fact that the butterfly effect, the wing of the butterfly can cause a tornado, you will try it, and I hope you come back to the group chat and tell everybody that it has transformed your life. It's very basic, but I hope you find value in it. So, this is what you need to do. If you have one thing, your job is simple. If you have more than one thing and you are feeling overwhelmed, the question is, how do you take the first step? So, for each item on your plan for 2023 or for 2023 to 2029 or wherever you are going, can you create 3 columns? And I will show you in a bit. Column 1 has to do with how easy is it for me to get this thing done? Do I have what it needs? Is it within my control? Or I need to wait on somebody or wait for something or whatever? Between 1 to 10, you need to make a score. You are the person that is going to mark it. What is your rating of ease of execution? The second column is a column for impact. If I am able to get this thing done, how much impact will it deliver to me in terms of where I want to get to as a person? The third column is what I call the score. You multiply the ease by the impact, it gives you a number. Based on the outcome of that number, it helps you to know where to start from. So, if you can see my screen, just pay close attention to what I'm about to show. So I used this as an example. I'm saying, taking the first step. What is my goal this year? I want to make more money. If you are with me in this goal, please Do yes in the chat box. If in 2023 you want to make more money, let me hear the yes so that I know I'm not alone. But if you don't want more money, it's okay. You want more money, let's hear your yes. Let's see. Okay, Opemipo wants to make all the money in the world though. So yes, okay, so we have together. So this is one that will work. So I want to make more money. Now I'm asking myself, like I said, what is that one thing? Whether it is written or you were not able to write. What is that one thing that you like to do? For me, it's make more money. So this is what I just said to you now. Number one is, what are the things that I can do that can help me to make more money this year? So I came up with this list and it's random and you can fill your own. Number one is, I can change my job. Number two is, I can acquire new skills. I can save. I can invest. I can do my side hustle. Now, if you can see my screen, you notice that based on my assessment, I have done the scoring like I said. And you don't need, just write it as it occurs to you. Don't try to just think which, just list. Your own may be 20, your own may be 3. And I think change job. For me to find the kind of job I want to take, it will not be easy because I must like the company, I must like the pay, I must like what they're doing, and the company also must like me. It's not so within my control, but if I can get it to happen at the right pay, that would be very nice, okay? So that's why I give it an impact of 8. Acquire new skills. New skill is within my control. If it's tied to my purpose and I have the motivation for it, like John Abe said, 1 hour every day, 30 minutes every day. I can become a developer, I can become a scrum master, I can become anything. And if I do that, then I can get a lot of money because my skill is now high. So you do the same. Saving is not easy because my salary has not increased. If I'm going to save, I have to punish myself. It's not so easy. Investment, if I don't have money, what am I going to invest? They won't take my teeth as deposit for money. So what am I supposed to do? Side hustle. Side hustle may not be straightforward because my job may not allow me. So this is my rating. You are the one to do this rating. Because what is easy for me may be hard for you. What will give you high impact may give me low impact. If you multiply 8 by 5, you get 40, 7 by 8, you get 56. If you do the numbers, this is the score. If you then rank these things, it then tells you that based on where I am right now, the thing that will give me the highest impact is how to acquire new skills. And so, as I get into 2023, I know exactly what I am supposed to do to make the year become what I want it to become. So when we talk about taking the first step, this exercise is the first step of the first step. Am I making sense so far? If you are with me and I'm making sense, give me, what can you give me now? Give me thank you. Give me thank you in the chat box so I can separate it from the yes. If I'm making sense to you and you are following, give me thumbs up or give me thank you so that you understand. So I'm sure that I'm not going too fast and you are with me. Yes, give me thumbs up so I know you are with me. All right? Okay, so it looks so simple. But imagine if you have 10 things on your list and then you are able to break those 10 things into the different, you take one of it that is number 1 for you this year and you break it into the different activities that are there. And then it just tells you that, look, this is the thing that leads me to make more money this year. And so this is where my focus is going to be. The question then is, how do I now move towards acquiring these new skills? I will then take you through a 7-step journey that if you can apply, you will not even need to get to the end of the year before you start getting very excited about the year. And if at this point you need any clarification, please get ready, because once I'm done with this, we can have an open mic session. So, having identified what you need to focus on first, meaning you don't have to chase everything. For you to have a great year, it's not by chasing everything, it's by taking it one at a time and conquering, and one at a time and conquering. There are several steps that you now need to take that leads you to where you are going. So the first step is operationalize. Operationalize. If you can type, please type this back to me in the chat room. Operationalize. What does this mean? It means break it down into everyday English. So when you say build, acquire new skill, what is that skill? I want to become a Scrum Master. What does it mean to become a Scrum Master? It means I need to study Scrum. It means I need to write Scrum exam. It means I need to find somebody to coach me on Scrum. Whatever it is I need to do, what does it mean to acquire new skills? I want to become a developer. So which developer do you want to become? I want to become a front end, a back end, a UI, UX, a full stack. That is operationalizing it, breaking it down. That one sentence, break it down into all its elements. So your eye is clear. If you stay at 35,000 feet above sea level and you are not breaking it down, it's like you are holding fruits in your hand that you are not peeling and you are not juicing, and then you are just saying, I want fruit juice. I want fruit juice. How does it become the juice? You got to peel, you got to wash, you have to press, you have to sieve. That's what we're talking about. Break it down. That thing that you have decided is number one for you this year. Operationalize it. Break it down. I'm slowing down for somebody to write a few things. Break it down. Break it down. Break it down into whatever components that you can identify. Break it down. You don't, if you have a bowl of poundo or amala or a bowl of rice, the rice doesn't enter your stomach as a bowl. You cut it in small pieces. And if you see my people from Akwa Ibom, Calabar, Efik side, when you see them mold that block, you understand it's a skill. It's an expertise that they will do like this, and then they will cut it into nice chunks. That's what practice, people. Okay, so when you break it down, it becomes digestible. That thing that looked very big now becomes easier. So the first step is take the lectures. The next step is to write the exam. The next step is to, maybe you need to do an induction, maybe you need to do a practice. And if you now, it is in the process of this that you will now realize that there are things you don't know. And so you are drawn to find out information. Can you write the exam in Nigeria? Must you go to Ghana? Can you pay in Naira? Are there schools in Nigeria where they do this? Reminds me of my journey to becoming a child accountant. Even though in my mind I knew I wasn't planning to practice accounting all the way to the end, but I knew very early that I wanted to just finish that can and put it behind me. And this was a period when it was fail one exam, fail everything. Fail one paper, fail everything. And I cannot forget. I landed in Port Harcourt, I think on a Monday. By maybe Monday the following week, I was already looking for Are there ICANN classes in Port Harcourt? Where do they meet? What day of the week? How much was it? If you don't have the details, all you have is a wish. And wishes are not horses. That's why lazy men can't ride them. So, break it down. Once you operationalize it, then you now need to create routines. Please, if you don't take anything away from this session, just pay attention to this word routinize. Again, if you can, please type it back to me. I'm just trying to make it connect with the concept. The power of habit is in routine. And let me tell you, this is the biggest hurdle. Operationalizing is easy. Breaking into the new routine is the one that is very hard. So, if you do not take anything else away from this session, please pay attention to routinizing, which means create daily routines. That thing you want to do, I need to study. Create a day, a time, a place where the study will take place. I need to find out information. Give yourself a setting. I need to do it on this day or every evening. I must spend between this time and this time. The more specific you are, the easier it gets. You are not likely to get away with anything that you are trying to do until you can create routine. Why? Because as human beings, again, I don't want to go to this mind, conscious, subconscious, superconscious, unconscious. The problem is we are products of habit. Habit is about repetition. Habit is about routine. There are people, my mom, it does not matter what day it is, it does not matter what is happening, she will wake up at 5. From when she tells you the story of how that 5 o'clock clear about, you will pity her. But it has become a part of her. So people, there's nothing you can do that can make them get ready for breakfast until it's about 1 or 2. There are some people, if it goes past 7 o'clock and they have not eaten breakfast, it's like the world has come to an end. Routine, routine, routine. We are product of routine. Anything you want to achieve, if you can create a routine. And when it comes to routine, it is not about perfect. It is not about huge. It's about just starting. You want to be able to exercise for 1 hour every day. Don't set a 1 hour target. Just start. Let it even be that every day you get up and you dress up and you do 1 minute. That 1 minute, if you can keep doing it, psychology says it's 21 days to form a new habit. Do it for 1 month, do it for 2 months, do it all of a sudden, without you knowing it, without being conscious about it, the 1 minute become 10, become 20. The key is the routine, not the size, not the magnitude, not the intensity. So just start. But you must be able to see it. And when we say routinize it, it means you are not arbitrary about it. As an example, you know your current schedule. For me, my evenings are easier for me than my mornings. So I know where to place what. I already have an idea of my current schedule is. So I cannot put certain things at certain times. So it is your routine. Create that routine. If you can emotionally connect with it, that is 50% of the journey. And then once you can routinize it, then don't think about it as the whole year. This is another hack. Don't think about it for the whole year. For some people, they have the stamina, they can plan for 15 years. Congratulations. But if you are like the average person, a whole year is too long and overwhelming for you to think that, oh, I have to wake up 5 a.m. every morning for me to do this, or I have to stay late till this time every day. So don't think about it as a whole year. Learn to work in blocks of time. In Scrum, we call it time boxing. Some people call it time blocking. So let it be that your first phase of this is to say, I will do this for 1 month. So my first target is do 10 minutes of work every day for just 1 month. 1 month is easy. Even talking about it right now, 1 month, I won't die. You want to study at a particular time, just give yourself that block of 1 month, or if it is 1 week, or if it is 2 weeks, or if it is 3 days, whatever you can capture, fill that block. You already have given yourself a motivation to get it going. Okay, so operationalize it, meaning you break it down, then identify the routines you want to follow. Exactly, it's like having short-term goals. I agree with you, okay? So create the routine. The routine is to say it will happen at this time, on this day, at this place, with this, with that, with that. But now set a block to say my first attempt at this will be for 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, whatever your stamina can take. The shorter the better. It's just to get started. Once you create that first time block, then decide when you are starting. I'm going to start on the 1st of February. I'm going to start next week. I'm going to start this Monday, which I think the 30th. Whatever. Set a start date. Remember, you have already defined your time block. 1 week, 2 weeks. So once you set your start date, automatically you have an idea of when it is ending. And if you can find an accountability partner, it helps you. Somebody you can say, I want to start jogging every morning, and I want you to be my accountability partner. So what is our role? I want you to ask me every evening, or I want you to ask me every morning, or I want you to let me confirm when we will be checking in, which is the 6th step. You are my accountability partner. This is my reporting framework. I will report myself every day. I will report myself every week. I report myself every hour. Whatever it is that you need to share, because that person must not become a nuisance. That person must know this is how I need to follow up with this person. This is the agreement this person is agreeing to, so that when I am doing what I need to do for the person, I don't feel like I'm disturbing the person. All right? So we agree. This is our check-in schedule. Daily, weekly, monthly, and then the 7th, but certainly not the last. And you can see it's in red. Is to get started. Remember, you have set a start date. So what should you do? Get started. What are we talking about? Taking the first step. If I fly out again, that plenty thing you want to achieve this year, or that one thing you want to achieve this year. Identify that one thing you want to start with this year. Identify the activities that are connected to that one thing you want to achieve. Once you have identified the key thing you want to now run after, follow these 7 steps. Break it down as much as you can. See all the different elements. Decide on the routine. I will start saving 1 naira. I will start saving X%. I will issue a debit instruction on my account. Break it down, operationalize it, create the routine. Tell yourself when you are starting, no, I am owing already and I need to pay school fees in January. So I'm only going to start in March, or I'm going to start in February. And then find somebody that you can be accountable for, set up your accountability schedule, and get started. Don't just count time. You need to make time to count. 2023 has started again. This time next week, we will be in February. I think the 1st of February is on Wednesday. What have you done with January so far? If you have been able to get January started, fantastic. But if you have not a problem. There are 52 weeks in a year. By this weekend, we have done 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks already in January. 4 minus 52 will give us like 48. You have 48 other opportunity to make a difference in 2023. Because how do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time. One bite at a time. That elephant that looks like a huge animal, you will finish it. So do not get overwhelmed with the size of the dream, or do not get overwhelmed because you don't even know how to accomplish, therefore you are not sure how to start. Let it be that having taught you and shared these several steps with you, you are now ready to pick it up and run after it however you want to do it in 2023. Taking the first step towards a great 2023 that can be your best year yet. That's the end of the presentation part of it. It's now open mic session for anybody who wants to share or ask questions or make contribution towards what we just discussed. Please feel free, unmute, and let's talk. Anybody? Hello? But if you are fine, then that means we can end.
Hi.
Okay, go ahead, Uncle John.
No, I did. I was just answering you.
Oh, okay.
I'm here.
Hi. Okay, so any
Yes.
contribution from anybody? Anything you want to clarify? Any experience you want to share? This is actually the interesting part of this, because this is what makes the program, this particular program, different from other programs. It's about sharing experience. Do you have any experience to share as to where you have applied this? Or do you have any experience to share where the lack of applying this, when you look back, you can see that if only you had applied this, you probably would have achieved a better result, because it is in those personal stories that the lessons get embedded. So anybody? Okay, so looks like
So
there's
for
a
me,
lot.
okay.
Yeah, go on, sir.
Okay, for me, I just like when you mentioned starting bit. So I like taking 10-year plan to 5 years sometimes, but starting in bit is the greatest win there. I mean, just start, even if it's just, for me, most times I like the 1 hour. So I just pick 1 hour. I make sure I do 1 hour. I know if I can do that 1 hour consistently, like you've mentioned, for 21 days, if I can do it consistently for 21 days, I'm going to win it. So even sometimes if I cannot finish that 1 hour, I just keep that time in my timetable or anything. So even if I can use 30 minutes out of that 1 hour, I still know I've used that time, and it keeps sticking in my brain, and it keeps sort of keeping me in check early, especially early, because starting early or starting, there is Wally Shoyika novel that says you need to set out at dawn. So thank
Very,
you.
very powerful. Thank you very much, Uncle John. Like I said, it's about starting. I mean, 1 hour is even too long. If what you can do is just do 10 minutes, depending on what you want to do 20 minutes. That creating that routine is the work. The capacity, the size of the routine will find its level. Yes, okay.
Good evening again, sir.
Good evening, ma.
Yes, sir. So I just wanted to contribute the fact that I really like the fact that you encourage that we have an accountability partner, because I think the biggest struggle most people have to achieving any goal is that discipline to do so. And having that accountability partner would tend to help a lot in that area, because you know that if you don't do it, someone is going to check. So
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, accountability partner will help. But the bigger thing that can really help, particularly with discipline, is when you have a very motivational why. When you're, because again, what can an accountability partner do? Accountability partner checks in today, I didn't do it. Checks in tomorrow, I didn't do it. Checks that back. After 1 week, if the person respects himself, the person will even just stop bothering, because the person doesn't want to now make an enemy, all in the name of I'm trying to help my friend. So you really need to start from the inside, starting from the inside, finding your why, being committed to that why. And then accountability partner and the other thing become the bonus on top of it. Nobody can get this done until you understand the fact that if you want a different ending in 2023, you must do things differently. You are not helpless. You are not helpless. Don't break that cycle of learned helplessness. You are infinitely powerful, and your potential, there's nothing standing between you and your result except you. Once you can get yourself out of the way, everything will just fall in place. So this is extremely powerful, and I hope that somebody here can use it to their advantage. Thank you very much. But yes, it's still open mic. Yes, go on.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for these sessions. I really have been impacted. Yeah, I want to speak to the aspect of moving what you can. I wasn't at the December session, but I was at a camp that really helped me to look at what I would really love to achieve in 2023. I've been writing an exam now for a while. So I have 3 papers to go, and it's been like forever. My workload at the office became double because a colleague I worked with resigned. So it was like there was no headway. So I told my husband, I said, I think at this point I need to take a tough decision, because as much as I love my work and what I do, it seems to be standing in the way of what I plan to achieve. So I said, I thought to myself, probably I'll need to look for something to do for income, and then I'll just need to resign to give myself space to do that job. So my boss had already communicated to us that we can't get our leave periods together. It's not possible. You are either taking, if you have 21 days, you're taking 3 days today, 2 days tomorrow, 3 days next week, next month. It can't come in together, because we are implementing a new software. So a lot of things are falling in together. I'm the management accountant, a lot of things just come up. So I was like, okay, let me discuss up front with her that I'm resigning, because my role is key. They need to get somebody. So sometime 2 weeks ago, I just walked up to her. I said, Madam, for this course, I plan to resign. We need to put somebody in my place and the likes and the likes. And she said, is it because of just your exams? I said, yes, that's the only thing on my plate this year. And she was like, let's look for options now. Why should it be like that? And I would say for the first time in years, I've been in the organization for 10 years. For the first time in years, I'm getting an approval to go 8 weeks at a stretch. So it seemed like that was something that could be moved, which I had never seen that would be possible. But because I had that in mind that this thing was happening, I walked up to her. And like you said, the butterfly effect happened.
I really love your story. And I don't know you personally, but I really love your story. And thank you so much for sharing. And thank you for sharing it so plainly, because you have spoken to many things. Learn helplessness. Somebody will be there, and somebody will have approached you differently. Fought the boss. You know, I hope you, for those who are new to this channel, go to our YouTube channel. We talk about these things in small things. emotional intelligence, prioritizing connection over correction. You have just summarized it. There are so many things that are within our control, but we never move towards them until we establish a clear why and there's an urgency for it. I went for a master's in UI a few years ago. By my nature, I'm a perfectionist. So I wasn't in a hurry to do my project because my core is accounting, but I am more passionate about people. So I'm moving towards psychology. So it's like I did 2 degrees, undergraduate and postgraduate at the same time. I call myself a post-undergraduate student. So everybody was rushing their project. I said, no, I'm not in a hurry. I will pay for the number of years, don't worry. But I got my project to the point where I should be writing and finishing. And I wasn't happy with the analysis that they did for me. The power of taking that first step and what you can move. And I kept complaining about it until, like I said, I'm in the same boat with you. Just that I'm exposed to a lot of these things and I've used them for over 20 years, but I still have to use them. So I made up my mind that last year, I will make sure that I get this project done before the next convocation. I must finish it. So I was running after little things, asking who can help me with the new analysis. So I spoke to somebody anyway. Long story short, do you know that the thing I was looking for to do was actually all within my control? When I was looking for somebody to get paid to do it for me, this year as I looked and said, okay, I want to do analysis about, I need to analyze the result of 9 banks. You know, one of my ladies, I just mentioned to her that I'm looking for somebody who can help me do my analysis. She said she's going to do it for me for free in 2 days. And she was the one chasing me. Somebody close under my roof, when I was looking for somebody to help me find, did it for me in 2 days. Why? Because I had zeroed in like we did in the ranking. It was clear to me that I must finish this year and I must do it well. So if you are on this program or you are watching it later, there's a lot that is within your hand that you can do something about. Don't focus on the things you can't help. Move the things you can move, like Ms. Agumbiade has said. Move the ones you can move. It starts by operationalizing it, then see how you can create a routine out of it, and then get started. Once you can apply these things in small bits, don't aim for everything. Just start in one small slice. You will be shocked how much is possible. The year will end very different. And the stronger the why, the easier the how. Yes. Any other contribution? Thank you very much for sharing that. Any other contribution? We don't have to go much longer than this. If we have had a good time, we actually try to keep it short and sweet. So I'd just like to thank you all for being here. And if anybody wants to share anything, you can still hijack the mic. But now I'm going through the formalities. I'd like to thank Ope for helping put most of the presentation together. I'd like to thank John Titiloye, who is always the man behind the technical side of everything that we do. Like I said, we have over, I don't know, 300 videos in our YouTube channel that covers a lot of things. This one too will be uploaded there. Feel free to go in. Our vision is world transformation, one man at a time, one community at a time. But the more current platform that I will encourage you to sign up on and use is our Telegram channel. It's called HeyCoach. The idea behind that Telegram channel is you can get coaching on the go. Many times, small decisions, big decisions you have to take on career, on life, you can just drop it there. And if you do not want to be the one to drop it, you can look for any of the admin, drop it on their channel, and then they will just post it so it's anonymous. And you can just learn from other people's experiences. so that you don't keep flying blind and you are not using native intelligence to solve problems that you can learn from other people's experiences and you can do better. So if you are not yet in that group, John, I don't know, you can just also drop that link here so you can join that. That's the real focus of this particular product. There are different products in DLive, but that's the focus of this one, because a lot of young professionals are now, you know, when we started, we had a lot of gray hairs ahead of us who held our hands and guided us. Now you have babies, leading babies in many organizations today. Everybody is growing so fast that a 2-year-old is already a senior manager. I mean, a 2-year post-qualification or post-graduation. Now, the person is smart, but leadership is a completely different ball game. So you don't want to make the mistakes that others have made and they've burnt their hand. You can always come to that page, either directly or through the admin, drop your questions, we'll share it with the group. You'll be shocked as to how people just chime in, why not try this, why not try that. In fact, the mere act of sharing makes it lighter, and then slowly you can build yourself up and shorten your journey towards maturation. So on behalf of everybody, I want to say thank you. There is usually a survey we'll administer at the end of the program. So please just hang on 1 second as John will share the survey so that we can take your feedback. And there you go. It's just I think 1 minute. You need to scroll down. There are just 3 questions there. So you need to scroll and just let's have your responses so that we are able to take the feedback and see how to make the product better. So on behalf of everybody, John, you can have music while we complete this poll, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and see you on the Telegram chat as we support ourselves to become better professionals. Happy New Year once again, and see you in February by God's grace as we take another edition. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.